Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse number 4. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Janaballabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Priyabrajakachaja Astotara Sata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Sila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Primsa Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinatha Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Maya Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse number 4. Adi Bhutam Ksharo Bhava Purushascha Didaivatam Adyagnoham Ivatra Dehe Deha Britam Vara. Adi Bhutam Ksharo Bhava Purushascha Didaivatam Adyagnoham Evatra Dehe Deha Britam Vara. Adi Bhutam Ksharo Bhava Purushascha Didaivatam Adyagnoham Evatra Dehe Deha Britam Vara. Adi Bhutam, the physical manifestation. Kshara, constantly changing. Bhava, nature. Purusha, the universal form. Cha, and. Adidaivatam, including all the demigods like the sun and the moon. Adiyagnaha, the super soul. Aham, I, Krishna. Eva, certainly. Atra, in this. Dehe, body. Deha, Bratam, of the embodied. Vara, the supreme. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Physical nature is known to be endlessly mutable. The universe is the cosmic form of the Supreme Lord, and I am that Lord represented as a supersoul, dwelling in the heart of every living embodied being. Purport. The physical nature is constantly changing. Material bodies generally pass through 6 stages. They are born, they grow, they remain for some time, they produce some byproducts, they dwindle, and then they vanish. This physical nature is called Adibhutam because it is created at a certain point and will be annihilated at a certain point. The conception of the universal form of the Supreme Lord that includes all the demigods and the different planets is called Adidaivatam. The individual soul, Jiva, accompanies the body. The supersoul, a plenary representation of the Lord, Krishna, is called the Paramatma or Adi Yagna and is situated in the heart. The word Eva is particularly important in this context of the verse because by this word the Lord stresses that the Paramatma is not different from him. The Supersoul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, seated beside the individual soul, is the witness of the individual soul's activities and is the source of consciousness. The Supersoul gives the Jiva an opportunity to act freely, and he witnesses his activities. The functions of all these different manifestations of the Supreme Lord automatically become clarified by the Lord. The gigantic universal form of the Lord is called Adidaivatam. Is contemplated by the neophyte who cannot approach the Supreme Lord in his manifestation as Supersoul. The neophyte is advised to contemplate the universal form whose legs are considered to be the lower planets, and whose eyes are considered to be the sun and the moon, and whose head is considered to be the upper planetary system. Physical nature is known to be endlessly mutable. The universe is the cosmic form of the Supreme Lord, and I am that Lord represented as a super soul, dwelling in the heart of every embodied being. So Krishna is in the heart of everyone. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridesha junati tishtati. That tishtati, or situated, sarva bhutanam hridesh, in the environment of the heart, the Supreme Lord Ishvara is present. He is known as Paramatma. He is the witness of all our activities. He gives us knowledge, he gives us remembrance, and he gives us forgetfulness according to our karma and according to our desires. We have so many desires, but desires are not sufficient. We also have to deserve. Therefore, Prabhupada says, first deserve, then desire. So we have so many desires, but because of our karma, we deserve to satisfy only a certain amount of these desires, and only according to the reactions of our previous activities called karma. And Krishna gives the fruit of these activities, and when he leaves the heart, then the living entity goes with him and the body dies. So for the neophyte devotee who cannot accommodate the personality of Godhead, who hasn't received the mercy of a pure devotee, who is trying to understand the situation of the universe, it is recommended that such a neophyte devotee meditates on the universal form. The universal form is looking at the universe and meditating the form behind this universe, or the lower planetary systems being the legs, the feet and the legs of the Lord, the upper planetary systems being the head of the Lord, the eyes of the Lord, or the sun and the moon, the veins of the Lord, or the rivers and oceans. And in this way, one can meditate on this universal form, which presence makes the universe function. Just like the Paramatma, or the super soul within my heart, allows my body to function. And when that Paramatma leaves, the body dies. In the same way, in the universal body, there is a Paramatma, and that is called the Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who is the super soul of the whole universe. He's from his body, Lord Brahma is created, and all the planetary systems are created. And then he enters into each planetary system, he enters into each being, he enters into each atom as the super soul, known as Kshirodakshai Vishnu. So in this way, the neophyte can try and understand, by looking at the material energy, by understanding the material energy and the situation of the material world, he can try and understand the spiritual being behind it. But this is difficult to do in Kali Yuga. We do not have the culture, nor do we have the upbringing to properly understand the situation of our relationship with God. Even those of us who were brought up in a religious environment, for example, I was brought up as a Christian, as a Catholic, the accent, the emphasis of the religion, the emphasis of going to church and praying was to satisfy our material needs. So, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are the four activities which are carried out by human beings. Dharma, he practices religion. Why does a human being practice religion? Artha, to get material benefits. Then, what does he do with the material benefits? Kama, he satisfies his senses. Then, when he becomes frustrated of satisfying his senses, then he desires moksha, or liberation. But the mainline religion, and this includes also Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, only deal with Artha, Kama, and Artha, Dharma, Artha, and Kama. Religion for getting material benefits to satisfy the senses. In fact, most of these religions, they preach that the family is the most important thing. In other words, they preach on the bodily concept. So much so that in Christianity and in Islam, we believe that after the body is buried, one day the same body will rise and we will again enjoy with our family. But where does God fit into this? What is the exchange of love? How much love can you have with your family? You didn't create the family. It is created by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. There is a superior power. That superior power is Krishna. And the process of bhakti is the proper way to understand Krishna. So Krishna says that Ekam Sena Stito Jagat. By a spark of my splendor, I permeate the whole universe. And of those who try to understand me, only very, very few succeed. Manusyanam sahasreshu. Out of thousands and thousands of men, kaschin yatati siddhahe. Maybe one, very limited amount out of many, many, many thousands of men becomes siddha, or become perfect. What does siddha mean? Siddha means to understand that I am not this material body. I am a spirit soul. I have nothing to do with my family. I have nothing to do with the process of philosophy to increase my family life, to increase my home, my business, my material possessions, my friendship, my power. All these things are related to the body and they are illusory. So one who is siddha understands this, that I am within this illusion in this material body. So, out of many, many thousands of men, Krishna says, one may become siddha. So, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid, maybe one, yatati siddhaye. Yatatam api siddhanam api, out of many, many thousands of these siddhas, kaschim mam veti tatvata. Hardly one knows me in truth. Krishna repeats this statement that very few people can understand him. He says that I know past, present, and future, but nobody knows me. So the great benediction which we have received by Srila Prabhupada here in the West is the potential to understand our relationship with God. This is the business of life. There is nothing else to do. So, we shouldn't take things cheaply. We shouldn't take things like a sahaja. There is even a term in the Vedic program where some people who pretend to be devotees are called sahajas. Sahaja means they think it is very, very easy and very, very cheap to understand Krishna. Or they negate Krishna. They think that God is impersonal. They think that God, when he comes into the material world, he becomes an incarnation and he takes a material form. No, these are called Mayavadis. Maya means illusion, and Vadi means one who follows the philosophy of illusion, that Krishna takes a material body. But actually, Krishna does not take a material body. Krishna's body is always spiritual from the very beginning. Even before he could probably see, he killed a gigantic witch called Putna. He was a child in the lap of his mother. And this witch took him up and tried to feed him poison. Krishna sucked the poison and also killed her. Later on, when he was still very small, his mother put him to sleep underneath a cart. And Krishna woke up and he began to cry and nobody paid attention to him. So he kicked the wheel of the cart and this huge cart fell over and it was heaped with all brass and steel and copper utensils. They made a tremendous noise. So Krishna was saying, hey, I may be a little child, but I am God. I deserve to be worshipped. I deserve your attention. The whole scheme of Krishna Katha, of Krishna's Leela, the whole thing behind Krishna is that he wants attention from us. He wants our exchange of affection and love. This is the whole thing. And even in the material world, we can see that we try to achieve this loving affection. There is only one problem with the loving affection in the material world, is that it is contaminated by lust and it is temporary. So Krishna says this world is dukhalayam ashashvatam. It is full of misery, and even if you are able to tolerate the misery, you cannot make a permanent solution in the material world because it is ashashvatam. It is temporary. It comes and goes. How many bodies have we had? How many families have we had? How many empires have we had? How many bodies up and down the evolutionary scale have we traversed? Millions and millions and millions, because the soul is eternal and it will go on eternally. So Krishna is saying, stop this business of birth and death. Stop gyrating in the cycle of birth and death in these material universes and come to me. So he comes and he presents himself. He presents his activities and his wonderful qualities and beauty so that we become attracted. I was just reading last night in the last chapter of the Krishna book, chapter 90, where Prabhupada explains that Krishna, he has 5 great opulences, which distinguish him from every other living being. Only Krishna has. His first opulence is that before Krishna appeared in the Yadu dynasty of Krishna's family and family members living in Mathura and Dwarka. Krishna is known as Yadunath. He took birth from Vasudeva, who was one of the Yadu kings. So before the appearance of the Yadu dynasty, the Ganges was known to be the most powerful agent for purification. Anybody who bathed in the Ganges became free from sin, even today. So the Ganges is very powerful in purifying the sinful activities of the living entities. But since Krishna's appearance, where he interfaced, where he lived, ate, slept, talked with the Yadu dynasty, the Yadu dynasty, by his association, became so pure that they are more powerful at purifying the living entity's sins even than the Ganges. The Ganges, Ganga Mata, is very powerful because she was touched by the lotus foot of Krishna. By that touch, Ganga Mata became so powerful to be able to purify the whole universe. But Krishna's touch, Krishna's interface was much, much more intimate with the Yadu dynasty than with Ganga Devi. And this intimate relationship of Krishna with the Yadus makes the Yadus more powerful at purifying the living entities who take shelter of them. So that was the first opulence. The second opulence of Krishna is that he was equal to everybody. He was equal to the devotees as well as to the demons. When Krishna killed the demon became liberated. And when Krishna blessed the devotee became liberated. So this is Krishna's great power, that he is equal to both the demons and the devotees. Of course, the liberation of the devotee is in Vaikuntha or in Goloka Vrindavan, whereas the demons are generally liberated into the Brahmajyoti. But they become liberated simply by dying by the hand of Krishna, by the hand of Krishna's devotee, or in front of Krishna. In Kurukshetra, millions and millions of warriors died. Elephants, horses, infantrymen, cavalrymen, but every single living entity that died in Krishna's presence in Kurukshetra became liberated. So that was Krishna's second great opulence. His third great opulence is that Lakshmi Devi never abandons Krishna. Krishna is always intimately connected with his energy of opulence. Even Lakshmi Devi, she wanted to become like a gopi. And she performed great, great austerities, but she was unable to reach the standard of the gopis. But she remained faithful with Krishna. And Lakshmi Devi doesn't remain faithful to anyone for very long. We can see that opulence comes into a family and they become opulent and rich, and then they lose it and they become poor again. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva worship Lakshmi for her benediction, but she is always at the lotus feet of Krishna. Then the third great opulence of Krishna comes in chanting his holy name. It is said that 1,000 names of Vishnu are equal to 3 names of Rama. In South India, they are very fond of chanting the Vishnu Sahasranam, or the 1,000 names of Vishnu, especially in the Ramanuja Sampradaya, Tamil Nadu. They learn these beautiful names of Vishnu, 1,000 names, from childhood. But if you chant the names of Rama 3 times, that is equal to chanting 1,000 names of Vishnu. And if you chant 1 name of Krishna, that is equal to chanting the 3 names of Rama. So the opulence of Krishna, of his holy name, is very, very, very powerful. So, and another opulence of Krishna is that, let me think now. I forgot. I'll get back to it later. So Krishna has these opulences because he is Param Brahma. When Arjuna understood Krishna's position, after he saw the universal form of Krishna, actually Arjuna asked Krishna that you claim to be God, you claim to be the Supreme, so you please show me something that proves your position. Show me your universal form. Because Arjuna didn't need to see Krishna's universal form to understand Krishna's position. But he did it for future commentators, future devotees, and future Gyanis would come and challenge that Krishna is not God, or they claim people will come and claim that I am God, I am Narayan. So then when you meet such a person, you can ask him, if you're Narayan, if you're Krishna, please show me your universal form. So after Arjuna saw the universal form, he was struck with wonder and he began to pray, Param Brahma Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavam, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adi Devam Bhajan Vibhum. Oh, dear Krishna, you're Param Brahma, you're the Supreme Spirit. We are Brahma, and Krishna is Param Brahma, is the Supreme Spirit above all demigods. Param Dhama is the supreme abode. You cannot, it is the highest goal, the highest abode, the highest position you can have is to be connected directly with Krishna. Pavitram is the purest. Paramam Bhavam, the supreme goal. Adi Devam, the origin of all the demigods. Ajan, unborn. Vibhum, the greatest. So this is Krishna's position. And so he has all these great opulences, and they are described in the Vedas. They are described by, especially in Srila Prabhupada's Krishna book, so that we become attracted to Krishna and we turn our face towards him. That is the solution. There is no other solution. The only solution for all the problems in life is to turn our face to Krishna. Good. I see that we have, I still didn't remember the fifth opulence of Krishna. Chanting the holy name, it gives liberations to the demons. Lakshmi is always with him. The Yadus can purify the whole universe even more than Ganges. And the fifth opulence of Krishna, I forget. I was just remembering last night. Just see. The difficulties of giving class. Let's see if it'll come to mind. Let's go through the comments. See, Krishna Priya has joined. And Atmavidya, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Ramon Narayan from Suriname, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sushi Rai, Krishna Priya Devidasi. If we could just be aware of Paramatma's present in us all the time, then we would never do anything wrong. Yes, of course. Because anything connected with Krishna, even if it's wrong, it becomes right. Krishna is apapa vidham. You cannot contaminate Krishna by any sinful activity. Just like the sun god, the sun planet, is pavitra. It cannot be contaminated. You can put any contaminated substance in the sun and the sun will purify it. So Krishna is apapa vidam. He purifies anything that comes into contact with him. Then Krishna Priya says, from where does this misconception that the material bodies will be resurrected originate? Well, in Christianity, 500 years after the disappearance of Lord Jesus, the seat of the Christian church was in Turkey, in Istanbul, Constantinople. And the emperor of the Roman Empire, King Constantine, he became the first Christian. So he called together an assembly of all the bishops and all the holy men in Christianity, and they codified the Testament, the New Testament especially. And at that time, many philosophies were introduced and many philosophies were removed. One of the points which were removed from the New Testament was any reference to reincarnation. And I think at that time, the idea of the bodies being resurrected again was codified into Christian teachings. Then Krishna Priya comments, was Sripad Shankaracharya, incarnation of Lord Shiva, the first to preach Mayavada philosophy? No, he was the second. The first was Lord Buddha, which is a kind of Mayavada philosophy. Buddha Dev came Sadaya Ridaya Darshitam Pashugatam, out of mercy for the unnecessary animal slaughter. But as a side effect of that mercy, he also rejected the Vedic injunctions and he preached this philosophy of nihilism, the philosophy that we merge into the nothing, impersonal philosophy. But Shankaracharya was directly responsible for taking this philosophy and defeating it by preaching the same philosophy, but from the Vedic text. Shankaracharya preached Mayavada philosophy from the Upanishads and from the Vedanta Sutra. And he defeated Buddhist philosophy. So in other words, with the same tool, he was able to reintroduce or re-establish the Vedic wisdom in India, which had been destroyed by the Buddhists. Pranjal Joshi says, please upload these videos on your own YouTube channel. I do. I have my own channel. I will send you the link. Krishna Priya Devidasi again, 1,000 names of Vishnu equals 3 names of Rama equal 1 name of Krishna. Correct. Albert DeVos, Vrishnivansa Prabhu, Jai Dandavats. Paramatma is so very kind. Just surrender and Paramatma will come. Just see, he's right. Paramatma is so kind that he stays with us no matter where we go. We want to take a body of a pig, we want to take a body of a worm, a body of a monkey, Paramatma will go with us. And he will be very attentive. He's not just going with us as the witness, he's also very attentive. He doesn't blink 24 hours a day. We sleep half the day, but he doesn't sleep. He stays awake and he's very attentive and he's simply waiting for us to turn our face towards him. Just like the 2 birds sitting in a tree. The one bird is eating and the other bird is watching. He's simply waiting. When will this eating bird finish eating and turn to me for friendship? And then this friendship will be re-established. It is not difficult to re-establish our friendship with Krishna because it is eternally there within our heart. Nitya Siddha Krishna Bhakti Shradya Kabunai. You don't get it by hearing or by any external endeavor. It is already there. That was Prabhupada's great faith, that he was the first, because he was an empowered Vaishnava, because he understood the situation as it is. He believed that Krishna consciousness was also in the heart of the Westerners. And before him, no one in India ever believed that you could make a pure devotee outside India. In fact, there is an injunction in the Vedas that you should not cross the ocean. So, openness number 5. Please wait one moment. Let's see if I can find it. Yes, of course. Krishna's 5th opulence is that he established the most wonderful and most perfect of all religious principles. Sarva dharmam parityaja mam ekam sharanam braja. Give up all your dharmas, give up all your activities, give up all your propensities, give up all your plans. Mam ekam, and only to me sharanam, surrender. This is the perfection of all religion. And one may ask, if this perfection is so easy, why wasn't it practiced? Because to surrender to Krishna, you must receive the mercy of his devotee. You cannot understand Krishna as the supreme ashraya, or the supreme abode that you can surrender to unless you have the mercy of a pure devotee. And personally, whatever I know, whatever I understand about Krishna consciousness is only through the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and his books. It's not that I spent a lot of time with Prabhupada. I met him a few times, maybe he spoke to me, no more than 3 or 4 times, but that was sufficient because Prabhupada is present in his teachings and his books. He's available to everybody. And I can testify that if you take shelter of Prabhupada, then Krishna will become manifest and you'll understand the process of surrendering to him. You'll understand the importance of bringing Krishna always within you in your day-to-day activities. Good. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.